the Dragon Lord debacle fresh on everyone's mind, what do other YouTubers have to say? I want to find out and talk about it with you today on my first React video. So I've got a small glass of wine, I'm going to give my cat a brush, and we're going to hear what Collector Arthouse has to say. Now you probably see him up here in the corner. He's one of the Sorcery content creators that have been around as long as I can remember. He's got a YouTube channel, Collector Arthouse. He also runs the Collector Arthouse Discord server, and he's got a website, collectorarthouse.com, where you can shop and see and learn about sorcery and its art. So, big shout out to him. Now let's see what he has to say. Come here, Rob.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Art House. I wasn't going to do a video today, but, I'm going to do a video this week, a van video. It's probably going to be from the van, talking about what is going on with Dragon Lord menu set, why I think it was strategically engineered in a very specific way by Eric Curiosa to create the effect and the impact that we're seeing right now.
Listen, if the effect of people not being able to get a product that they've been a huge fan of was part of the strategy, it's like I will have lost all faith in this game. But we definitely will have to check out what he actually means, because he hasn't actually said anything. He's making a video in the next coming days, and I'll be interested to see that one as well. But I hope that this is not the intention moving forward for Sorcery products. So let's hear what he has to say. The magnificent miss here of our Arthurian legends.
But to understand the rationale and the reasons for that, we first need to have some context and talk about Arthurian legends, because Arthurian legends is, I believe, a fundamental reason why Dragon Lord mini set was handled the way it was handled. So a lot of people, as you know, Arthurian Legends, it didn't really make the same kind of splash, certainly, as the Kickstarter, which was phenomenally successful, selling for $4 million, almost 30,000 boxes.
So I'm coming from the perspective of someone that came after the Kickstarter. So I found Sorcery when I was looking to find a game from the beginning and support it. And I got so lucky to find Sorcery because it was doing so many cool things. Hand-painted art, a chess-style board game, multiple layers of play. I mean, it reminded me of something out of an old Star Wars, what was it, A New Hope and Han's ship when they had chess on multiple levels. I think that, I don't know if I'm mixing up the prequels or what, or some Clone Wars or whatnot, but I was so happy to come into this game, and I don't feel like Arthurian Legends, from a collector's perspective, was a failure. I think the thing that Sorcery has going for it, well, at least until Dragon Lord, was that you could buy a booster box, and just like Pokemon, you're basically have a chance to get anything cool. The super rare curios, the unique holographics that are limited to, maybe one every other box or so. And I think that model was something great, along with the idea that this was going to be something that players could get their hands on. So I'm not sure about sales numbers, but I don't see Arthurian Legends as any sort of failure. Although I do miss the darkness that hopefully we'll get with Gothic release. But let's see what else this guy has to say here.
Ordered, it was printed demand basically. So almost 30,000, $4 million. Then beta. A lot of people missed the Kickstarter, hadn't heard about Sorcery yet, and came into it later and really wanted beta. There was very large demand for beta. And, that was out for a while. And then we had Arthurian Legends. And with Arthurian Legends, there was a lot of excitement leading into the release of Arthurian Legends, but the reaction soon thereafter, I would say soonish, right? Like within a few months, it started to really wane and fizzle a bit, right? We had an extremely, extremely quiet first part of 2025.
I mean, coming from, again, a fan of Sorcery from the moment I found out about the game, the art is one of the biggest things to me, hand-painted art, because other games, Magic, dude, it's got Sorcery beat as far as competitive. I mean, that's what Magic is. It's got decades of competitive mechanics and different dynamics between combinations, and it's got old power cards, new stuff. I mean, there's other games too. I've heard One Piece and Lorcana are amazing. So, to me, the things that made Sorcery what it is were all part of Arthurian legends. So, I mean, that's my take on it anyway.
In 2024, was it like late October, early November when Arthurian Legends came out? And the fourth quarter of 2024 was pretty exciting. We had a great Sorcery Con event. Arthurian Legends was a big deal. A lot of people were excited about that. And then as we rolled into the new year, we hit this like massive lull period where everything was kind of quiet. Engagement across the socials was slower. The sales of Arthurian Legends was palpably slower. You could tell.
Buddy.
And some people, there were some comments from the company.
I mean, I think some of this comes from the fact that they're printing one set a year. I mean, if you look at other card games, Pokemon has now split their releases. We're getting 2 for the price of 1, just like the old games. You used to have multiple games to be able to get every Pokemon. It's absolutely overwhelming. And Sorcery, in comparison, it's almost like they don't exist. And they're very hard to find information on. You have to go on this crazy chase on YouTube channels and Discords and websites, and it's like not fun and magical and word of mouth as I think maybe theoretically it could be in the imagination of the creator. Because in a world of the internet, that's not how this works. Word of mouth, it ends right after you put the period down, and people pick up their phone, and that's the word of mouth. Even for the people that are sitting next to each other on the table, they are so plugged in. I don't really see. I don't see how word of mouth is the strategy here, but it's no wonder if that's what we're relying on when there's no real news and hype and excitement for a year. People, they just wait. They wait until it comes out and there is that thing, and they go do other things in the meantime. So it's no surprise.
I believe that they were going to print like one wave. They said like, we're going to print it once and then it's done, right? So some of the collectors thought, maybe it won't be printed in large quantity. I think they kind of misunderstood that comment. I think what was really meant, and what we believe is the case now, is that it was likely printed in large quantity and then stored in a warehouse or something, right? And they did say it would be released in waves, right? So it's kind of semantics. Print once, release in waves, or print several times in waves. It's immaterial. It's the same thing. Same net effect ultimately. Except if you have it in a warehouse, you kind of pace the supply to distribution through your retail network, etc. So I think the latter is what happened, right? It's probably being warehoused and it's being offered to the public incrementally. Kind of.
I don't know. This kind of business talk must be far over my head. I, as someone that expected this to be accessible, I got in and got a box of alpha on the secondary market, and that to me was my kind of like my gem. I've been there from the beginning. I did other things like volunteer to Gen Con. I wasn't the best volunteer. I find that regrettable. But I did help a lot of people enjoy their first, Sorcery game. And they thanked me and told me I was one of their favorite judges, even though my knowledge on the game was far less than any of the other judges, I would say. It still made me feel happy that people, they found joy in Sorcery, and they thanked me for that. So that was a very cool experience. But as far as releases, I wanted beta and everything else to be printed so that everybody that wanted some could get it. Because that was something that was said about the game early on. And that was important. It was the game is leaning on the tabletop. It's a tabletop game. That's the focus, is people to have the cards and enjoy it. That's why there was a beta to begin with. And then you had the alpha stamp show up again in beta on an Eric's Curiosa. And you can see there's different print lines on each of the cards, but most people don't have, a jeweler's on standby to look at the paint on the cards. You know what I mean? And then they reprinted the alpha symbol again. And it's like, these moves are what are shaking the faith of the Sorcery community. All of these designs and strategies that were made public and spoken by Eric or by the team close to Eric. And now the things aren't happening, or, all of a sudden beta, is in a warehouse. You can buy beta still, but Dragon Lord sure is not. Anyway, let's stay on subject and let's
Low
hear
key in
more.
waves, right? Because the thing is, Arthurian Legends has been widely available since the beginning. I think there was, in Brackenberry, what's the guy's name? Brackenberry PvP. He just did a video and gave me a shout out. Appreciate it. He was talking about how he's a store owner. He was talking about how Arthurian Legends was always available. There might have been like some very short stint where it was not available, but otherwise you could always buy it from distribution. Um, so, it was a confluence of factors. Some people say Arthurian Legends didn't land as well because it was a small set.
I don't know, man. I haven't found sorcery at a single store around me, and I looked it up. I think the closest is an hour away.
220 some cards. Some say it's because like this confusion, people being upset about the uniques, the sirs, the knights. They were, some were not like truly unique rarity. They were at elite rarity level. And
Now, I will say, stuff like that, it's just stupid design. Like, people don't want to be disappointed. They want to open up a pack, understand what they're seeing, right? Curios are fun, and that's kind of a nice little secret in there. But why would you confuse the rarities? If this is based off of a draft, it's like I've never seen anybody playing sorcery aside from in the airport or with me at Gen Con. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something you see out in the wild. People are playing Magic or Pokemon or One Piece or Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorcery isn't even for sale at these places.
unique, even though they were printed as uniques. So they play as uniques. You can only have one in your deck.
But how, when you're pulling these cards, you're all excited to find these uniques, and then you go and look it up and you realize actually they're elites. That's a disappointing thing. You don't want people to be disappointed from your product. That was a weird move. It's weird. Maybe, I guess it was for the game mechanic to keep them limited. But you could have implemented like a different rarity. You know what I mean? That's not unique, like a elite mono or unelite or something. I don't know. It's your card. You can make up anything. It doesn't have to be confusing to the consumer.
But that you keep pulling them, right? So people say like the opening experience wasn't as fun as maybe like an alpha and beta, or you just get satiated quicker. Smaller set, you collect the full collection quicker, you get all the cards you need to play quicker, and then it kind of pitters out, right? So those were some of the reasons, but the fundamental reason, I think, is because it was fundamentally designed as a draft set, a sealed draft set. And I think that was a miss. I always scratch my head, and I would ask, like, when I had players on the channel, I had a few guys that are like big into the play scene. I was asking them, what do you think about this draft set? Like, as kind of like the first follow-up set after an alpha beta, that it was designed for limited, sealed draft play. Do you think that was the right move, or should we have had another larger?
To me, that sounds like a terrible move. And I look, I look at sorcery videos every day. I just got my binder together from some of my representing every alpha, beta, Arthurian Legends. I just put some cards in there to have my own personal little binder of things I won't touch or won't sell beyond what's in the One Collection channel. But draft, I mean, again, I brought up Magic earlier. You can't beat Magic. You buy 6 packs, you got lands, you can have a draft with any player out there, just 1v1, you can do it multiple people, there's different draft formats, and you can show up to pretty much any store and just play. You buy any 6 boosters and put them all together. There's so many variations, and there's so many people ready to play it. Your only options for sorcery are this janky tabletop simulator where you have to learn a whole new emulation, a whole new set of janky controls, and if you drop a card off the end of the table, that's it. Whoops, we can't get it back. Game over. You don't have your card anymore. And it's like sorcery to me as a fun, you're playing with your family or friends in a light-hearted, haha, let's have fun, is how it should be. Why are we worried about draft? We should be worried about making the tabletop experience better for everybody, not making some exclusive collector Dragon Lord that can't be bought, not worrying about a draft experience booster. Like, why are we all of a sudden, like, are we shifting? Is sorcery now going to be highly competitive? Like, I don't know. I don't understand This was the tabletop game with the art emphasis. What is happening to the game? I don't understand it.
Set to kind of expand and build upon the core
It's
400
only
some
the
card
third
set.
set, right? We're not even there.
Because it just didn't seem right to me. Like, here's the thing: if you're going to have like a draft set, you need to have a very robust player base and ideally a robust LGS support system. And where Sorcery is at in the early phases of its life cycle, and it's still very early. I mean, I still think it's in like a beta phase, as you could tell by the profound rules changes that we just saw. Things are changing dramatically. They're experimenting with mini sets. It's only a couple sets out. It's very early stages, right? So to come out with a draft play set, when you don't really have broad store adoption across the world or even across the US, let alone the world. You know, in Europe, it's very passionate, but it's thin, it's small, it's sparse, right? There's like pockets of like intense passionate support, but it's not like broadly across Europe. But focus on the US. Even in the US, sometimes you got to drive like an hour or 2 hours to.
No, there's no way I'm driving out. Honestly, after COVID, I think people are somewhat hesitant, and maybe I'm I'm on the lag end of that. You know, maybe I'm a little behind, but it's taken me a while to get back to going out and socializing like I did when I was younger or like I did before COVID. And it became easy to stay inside and play games online or on your computer or just with your close friend group, you know. And I've played some games in some interesting places. Well, my one buddy invited me out to a bar, and we played at the bar. They had D&D going up on the second story of the bar. It was kind of cool. I felt right at home playing my nerdy game. And if you go to any of the card shops, again, no one knows what Sorcery even is, and it's honestly, if someone offers me a game of Magic, it's like it's hard to want to tell them about Sorcery. It's like, yeah, I'll take you up on the Magic game, you know. And again, say I was out to go and do it, and they're like, oh, what's new in Sorcery? I'm like, it's Dragon Lord. It's really, my favorite is Tarkir Dragons. I got a promo on the wall. It's a holographic promo for Magic, and I've got all of the boxes from Tarkir, all 4 of them I'm going to have opened up. So Dragons is my thing, and I guarantee you a bunch of nerdy dudes and ladies are going to be into Dragons too. And so to tell them that and be like, yeah, you can't really get it, and it's kind of in this place like there's no win here. If you have all of these convoluted sales where I have to watch Collector Arthouse and then I find a Patreon for Ed Beer Jr. and then he tells you through YouTube that if you buy this tier, you've got a box reserved, and then you buy the box and he posts that actually, you know, maybe someone else will buy a higher tier and you won't have your box anymore. And so then you go to his website, but you can't, you find prices for painted cards, and it's like, the fuck are we doing? You know what makes Magic nice in the store? You meet someone new, you're like, yo, I'll buy 6 packs. Do you want to play a draft? What do you do for Sorcery? You're like, hey, if you could, there's a legend of a cool set of cards, but you'll never fucking have them. It's a weird place. It's a weird area for a card game to be in. I don't have the lens of the magnificent miss of Arthurian Legends that Collector Arthouse does. I've just been throwing cards in a box and taking out hollows I like and putting them in a binder, you know? Making videos of me ripping packs like a degenerate looking for a curio. So, I don't know. It's a different perspective, but I gotta be honest. If I'm missing cards, it's kind of, that was something that made Sorcery really, like, I've just been there for everything. So, it's hard to recommend to a store if you've had bad experiences, and it's, people can tell if you're hype or not. I'm hype about Tarkir, Dragonstorm, and if people ask me about Dragonlord, I'm not going to have the same reaction, and that's going to carry into Gothic. So when you're talking to a shop owner, instead of being all hype and being like, yo, you got to hear about Sorcery, you're going to be like, oh, I don't know, they kind of pissed me off with some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Let's hear where, I'm trying to stay on topic. I'm going to react if he does a Dragonlord video. I just cannot wait. I want to hear what he has to say. I feel like he's got insider knowledge that I do not have. I do not have connections. I'm just this fucking fanboy out here. So let's. I think we've got 4 minutes left here. I'm not used to reaction videos, but I hope I'm interjecting enough.
Find a store that even carries it, and you know, like alpha and beta is kind of a thing of the past. Like another factor was they reprinted beta a few times, right? So that kind of like consumer confidence was a bit down. I'm going to get into that in the next video. We'll talk about kind of like the collector mindset, right? But it's twofold with Arthurian Legends.
It's
One,
my
from a
mindset.
player perspective, you don't have the robust
I'll
player base
send
and
him a
store
vial of
network
my
and
tears.
and an organized play system to support a draft set. So that's why, even though it's available, it would be logical that a set that's designed for draft play, you'd want to print a lot of and keep feeding the market so they keep drafting, keep playing. They have the sealed product to open packs, construct decks, play competitively or play like casually, but like, in a draft format at your LGS. But the thing is that player network, that player underpinning is just not there. It's not broad.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. He's saying, like, who did they make this draft set for if there aren't a lot of players drafting? I've opened more Arthurian Legends than any other thing. I threw in a video the other day 3 empty boxes, but I have a 4th down below, and I started throwing them out. I actually realized I don't even think I haven't used any of the dust codes or anything. That's not my cup of tea. Isn't going online to redeem a code. I want the card in the art, and I want it in my hand, that tactile feeling. But who is this draft set for? I don't know. I thought it was me. I thought that's what this game was for, but let's keep hearing it.
So even though it's available at distribution, no one's buying it. There's not enough play to buy it. And collectors were quickly satiated because it's a small set, right? So you open a bunch, you buy singles. They're pretty affordable, pretty inexpensive. So you collect what you have. And if the game's not growing quickly, it just doesn't fit at this phase of the life cycle. So I thought it was like a strange move. And, that's kind of the context. You're going to find out now why I think Eric's Curiosa has taken such I think a bit of an extreme approach to Dragon Lord mini sets.
Extreme? Like, I'm going to be honest. They pitched this game as available. And their design was hyper intelligent with the holographic uniques to give value in a box. I mean, in curios, that you can be opening these things and playing the game, and you're getting, if you're the guy that's worried about price, which I've learned to kind of step away from, but you're gonna have value because of these holofoil uniques. And I think they've dropped down to like $50. That's pretty good value. I opened up Dragons of Tarkir, not Tarkir Dragonstorm, and I got a $20 card. It was like the top value card. Now, it wasn't holographic, but still, that would only bump it up a little bit, and the box was $300. So it's like the value in those where I saved a bunch where I can open up with my friends and draft. But Sorcery, on the other hand, in the One Collection channel, they're all on the top of my cards because even though most of the cards are worth nothing aside from their value you perceive, there are still these banger hits, these curios or these uniques that no one can practically open enough boxes to get them all, so they have to buy singles, which allows them that demand. You don't have to artificially inflate this demand. This is just going to piss a lot of people off, and it's not what the game was said to be, which is to get it in the player's hands, to appreciate it, and to play a tabletop game.
And
rah.
I think it has to do with restoring collector confidence.
I intended to be both positive and negative and balanced in this, but I don't know how that's coming across. I don't feel angry like I did when I made that video. I'm glad I made it. I think it made for good content. It's one of my best performing videos, highest interactions. So I'm glad I did it, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about the design of Dragonlord, and I don't really have a lot of negative to say about Arthurian Legends. So let's let Collector Arthouse keep talking here.
And really, let me table that because I want to get into that in the van video. I'm sorry, I keep like jumping the gun here.
Can't wait for
the
these
other thing I want to say
buddy.
about Arthurian Legends is a set designed for draft play would have made so much more sense, in my opinion, 2 years from now, or even like. Yeah, not even next year, 2 years from now. Because here you have now this organized tournament system with the Cornerstone tournaments and the, the world. There's going to be a Sorcery Worlds tournament next year. And now you have SCG Con. That was a big catalyst. It's really getting people excited about growth and more organized play. if you had that SCG, the Star City Games conventions going on, and you had 3 of those, and then like say next year they're going to do 3, 4, 5 more of those, maybe quarterly, something like that. We only know about the 2025 one so far in October, November. But say like they had a round of those, and then next year you do it again. 2 years from now, I expect we're going to have a ton more players, and a limited play set's going to make so much more sense because whether there's more stores or they go more direct to consumer, there's going to be more players, more playing in person. You know, it's no coincidence that there is a tabletop simulator league that's run by the guy that does the rule system, Ira, at Eric's Curiosity.
Bro, don't let me get started on that guy. I will say the vast majority, I mean, literally everybody else in Sorcery that I've met have just been great. I'll just leave it at that.
It's a virtual tabletop simulator league, right? Because there's just not enough like in-store play to coordinate kind of like an in-play system just yet.
It would be a wild and honestly a wildly successful move if they made an app for Sorcery. Because let me tell you, Magic, their arena is just terrible. The monetization on it. If you made an app just for playing the game, hell, you could put it as you buy it once. You know, people would buy it and then could play it, and it would bolster your sales in real life because now people could play and appreciate the game. I mean, I would play it. And I, honestly, their competition, Arena, as good as it is mechanically, it wouldn't be able to compete because of there's a lot of problems with it. Let's leave it at that. It's not a Magic video.
So to draft play, it's just, I guess you could draft play in TTS, but I mean, it doesn't help selling product, right? So it's just weird product placement, I think, in my opinion. And now we're going to see an adjustment, a pivot to a Dragon Lord mini set, and that's going to set the stage for Gothic, which gets back to roots. It's going to be a very large set. They're calling it the largest set yet, so over 400 cards is essentially confirmed. And that's the context, guys. So stay tuned. In a few days, you're going to get that Dragon Lord mini set.
Oh, no, man.
Product.
I'm looking, if I can get my hands on this Dragon Lord set, I am looking to take a break from following Sorcery because it's just too much work and there's too much speculation. Like, I just want the cards. I don't want to miss out, and I don't want to pay a crazy price if Eric is just going to flip this now and print it unlimited. It's weird. It was a weird product all the way around. It should have just been highly premium. It should have come with Ed Beard Jr.'s book at $100 package and him sign them. And then after that, after a short period, it now just becomes unlimited with like a beta stamp on it or something like that. You know, something you could find. They could even partner with like a Target or a store like that. Man, I have just nothing good to say about my feelings as far as Dragon Lord, other than I love the art. I want to get my hands on it and see it. I want the nice display box. I was messaging Ed on Patreon asking him for tips on acrylics. He told me to watch his live videos. I don't know where that's going to get me. I don't think he knows how bad I might be at painting acrylic stuff. But, you know, I'm just not hype. It's like I need a break. And, you know, when I needed a break from Magic collector boxes, I ultimately determined I should just not. You know, that isn't a collectible game for me as far as Magic goes, because I can just play it and draft it with my friends. I can experience what I want with the set I want, and then I can kind of walk away. And I think Sorcery might become that if there's no... If there's no resolution, and I can't see one, that makes, say I get a box, I think I will, I'm still going to empathize with the fans that didn't get them. And it's going to leave a bad taste in my mouth. And I'm one of those people, I have one of those kind of senses of justice that doesn't work for me. Like, it works against me. It's not a good character trait. It's too strong. But it's something I won't be able to forget, you know? And I hope that this is a strategy that I haven't been able to see, and that in the end I go, you know what, that was okay. but I just don't see it. Let's let him finish up. I think he's going to tell you about his upcoming video.
Positioning kind of like it's not going to be a secondary market thing. It's going to be like a market dynamics thing, or like a more of like a strategic. Why Eric's Curiosa is strategically designing the scarcity,
all over my
the
floor
distribution method of Dragon Lord mini sets based on where it's in the life cycle, what its goals are for the next 6 to 12 months, coming in a few days from the van. Thanks, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for 2,000 subscribers. Just hit that milestone this week when Ed Bear Jr. was live on the channel. Go back and watch that Thursday night. It's great to have Ed on. Thanks again so much for your interest, and see you in a few days. Take care.
Thank you, Collector Arthouse. What a great video. Go check his channel out. Leave him a subscription. Well, I gotta say, man, I think the way he ended it, if Eric has crafted this scarcity just to make it really difficult for people to get, I don't have a lot of respect for that. You know, the thing causing scarcity in Pokemon can be contributed to both underprinting and scalping. You know, scalping being a big part of that. That's why, you know, sales on Pokemon.com were not, or PokemonCenter.com, weren't just people logging in. They were people that had back doors to the service and had planned to make these purchases, and they fill a warehouse. It's like getting it, it's like getting it through distribution, but they're posing as just a regular Joe. And I don't appreciate this dynamic in the market, and I certainly won't appreciate if we're doing this intentionally, you know, to the stress. I've gotten a lot of negative comments, a lot of them so negative, YouTube has hidden the comment on my own channel, that it won't show it because of either someone cursing or saying something, or, you know what I mean, maybe they're inflammatory on other posts or something like that. But there's a lot of negative feelings for this. Yeah, my cat is just like trail. I should have gotten him a plate. He's like, I got him tuna. He's like trailing it across my floor. Anyway, I sure hope there's a resolution. I can't wait to hear Mike's thoughts on it. But my attitude towards Sorcery right now is in a kind of flux. I look forward to hearing more. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you had a glass of wine with me, and hope you liked my first React video. I'll see you next time.